Hey guys, welcome to another What's News. I'm Jay77, giving at least 5 new topics we'll be talking about. So without wasting any time, let's head to the very first topic that I want to talk about, and this is pretty much a very, very interesting story that caught my attention here. This story involves a man who pretty much is now arrested for attempted murder. Actually, he accidentally turned himself in. I was kind of baffled when I heard about this story, and was just basically thought I'd read it. And well, let me just read the story. This is coming from, of course, the Huffington Post. They said an Alabama man wanted for attempted murder and burglary accidentally turned himself in. Jerry Lee Washington Jr., 21, entered the Warriors Police Department. And I'm not kidding. That's the name of the exactly police department. The Warriors Police Department on Wednesday to report damages to his car. The damage came from an earlier incident. He allegedly tried to steal from the home of Joyce Buchanan, I believe, and then ran over the man as he fled. Washington was arrested on the spot. Some people aren't as bright as they think they are. Buchanan, who suffered fractures on his right side of his body, told WBRC. There's a picture of this guy right now. I'm just glad he's alive and in good spirits, because this could have been a whole different story. The report continues to go on. It says you don't go to somebody's house and steal something from them and run over somebody that is there and then go file a report against them. How is that going to work? Good point. I can't even debate this. There's really no debating about it. The guy's stupid. The guy's an idiot, and the fact that he actually had the nerve to go to a precinct and complain about a damaged car which he don't own and use as a weapon against his victim is something that I just simply don't get. Obviously, this guy was not all there, and well, luckily for him, luckily for the victim, he was stupid enough to turn himself in the way he did. Again, this is one of the strange, weird files. I'll leave a link below, but it says the bizarre turn of events started when Buchanan's father found Washington's car parked in the front yard. He told his son to take down the car VIN number and try to find Washington, who was hiding in the bushes nearby. Washington allegedly made a run for the car and tried to mow down Buchanan as his grandfather. The grandfather was armed and fired 2 shots at Washington's vehicle, but missed. ABC 3340 reports. I had never heard of this before. This must be from a local station, because 3340. I heard 2020, but 3340. Okay, whatever. Well, when Washington jumped out of the man jumped in the car and then threw in the drive and took off and pinned me between the car and my truck, Buchanan said. Washington is charged with third-degree burglary, unlawful breaking and entering, and attempted murder. And that's pretty much it. I will leave the link below. But yeah, this was actually was not in the crime section of the Huffington Post, but mostly in the weird and strange files. And it's not too hard to see why. It is obviously one of those stories that it's almost too hard to believe when you read it. But apparently it was true. I did look up to see if anything back up this story, and lo and behold, this actually did happen. Again, this article is kind of strange within itself, because it got some stuff here that I just shake my head. 3340 doesn't really make any sense to me. I don't know why they just could have called it 2020, unless it's a whole different format with whole different people, but whatever. Again, sometimes when you see these criminals and thieves, when they do things, they're not the brightest and the brights, especially from stories I heard in past. One of my favorite stories I still can't get is when these 2 guys rob a police car with the police officer in the back of the car. That always caught my attention too. A guy who was alcoholic who got a ride back home, only had the cab turn around and to get to his car. He was still drunk, and the guy looked at him and just basically shook his head and arrested him on the spot for trying to get back in his car while still intoxicated, which boggles the mind with some of these guys. But the one that always seemed to caught my attention is when someone gets robbed at the store but could not get his way out. He could not find a way out, or get stuck in the vents of the store they was trying to break into. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of these crazy weird stories. This is one of them that is more serious. The first one is actually really, really serious. And again, I'm just lucky, just happy that this guy turned himself in the way he did to now he can be off the streets and justice can be served. Because like I said, this could have had a more tragic event, and instead it just turned into one of the weirdest and strangest reports that I actually have to read. But I'll leave a link. You guys can talk about it. You guys can read about it. But I wouldn't be surprised if you don't hear the last of this story. I think a lot of other people is going to be talking about this story for a very, very long time. Let's get to some more other issues here that's happening across the United States. This one is a little bit sad in many ways. Sad and very, very frightening. It involves a man who was denied food stamps, and his reaction to it wasn't. It was not pleasant. Let's put it that way. On the front article says Mark Knight got out a loaded rifle after being denied food stamps. The story begins pretty much clearly as there's a lot of maps here you're going to get of the place for reasons I don't know, but it says that Louisiana authorities said that a man got a loaded AR-15 assault rifle from his pickup truck and began to turn down after being turned down for disaster food stamps has been jailed. Louisiana State Police said a calm professor in Louisiana Palace told officers a man became irate after being denied aid Tuesday evening after a recent Hurricane Isaac. They said the police provided security at the location, saw the man go into his vehicle, and troopers, sheriffs, and deputies, and National Guards troops surrounded and disarmed him. Trooper Melissa Mayte says that the investigation, they also found a handgun and several loaded ammunition magazines. She says 6 years old, Mark Knight of Louisiana Pace was booked on charges of terrorizing and aggravated assault. Bond was set at $20,000. And that's pretty much it. Knight remains in jail Thursday, and a message with a public defender officer was not immediately returned. I'll leave a link to this before abroad, but yeah, that's a scary thought, especially in this hard economic times. Especially when what we have saw in the report here about him being denied after the hurricane hits, and the only thing I can say is the guy snapped completely. And I also got to say that surprisingly, for so many people to be at one spot, I don't know how big this area is. I don't know the history of whether or not that's been hit before, but they're able to catch this guy before he actually physically hurt someone and kill someone with his guns. How they reacted, I gotta give them props. They really reacted as fast and as quickly as they humanly can, with the risk of their own lives, because you never know, he could have turned the gun on themselves. So I gotta praise them for acting the way they are, knowing the risk they was putting themselves into. Also, surprisingly, how they didn't pull out their guns and start shooting. So obviously he didn't have a chance to even pull out his rifles. They must have saw him put out his rifles, get his assault weapons before he actually got a chance to use it. They was able to restrain him. Otherwise, if it was out in broad daylight, that probably would have been a different story. So as for the charges, it's hard to debate that. It's definitely terrorism. A lot of people have said it should be aggravated assault, but keep in mind, you had a gun, you're pulling out your gun. There's chances are he's planning to use that gun, and being as angry and probably as desperate as he is, and this basically, he just basically snapped, in my opinion. And God knows what he could have. God knows what his mental state, what could have happened if he would have gone through with his plan. But luckily, the police was there. They got on their game, did their job, and from only thing I can say is that until we hear further news from it, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a very slow, very long process. And who knows, the charges may be dropped, the charges may be upgraded or downgraded, or entirely. I don't think it's going to be dropped, but I think it's going to be either upgraded to more serious charges or downgraded. But either way, you're saying they're going to keep some charges on him, and they might even do a psychological on the guy. But either way you say it, as far as the food stamps concerned, I don't know what Louisiana's law are. I know each law in different states is different. I don't know about the emergency relief, because it sounded like he was looking for emergency relief, and obviously there was something that he that didn't qualify him from. I can't really criticize that for reason is I just don't know about the emergency relief. It's not the same as New York. New York has a certain guidelines and rules for emergency relief, and for depending on situations that the individual or families are in. I don't know what rules they have on Louisiana. If you guys know the rules of that, feel free to share with me. But as far as I'm concerned, I was more thankful that the guy did not get a chance to hurt someone. And that's basically more important for me right now. As far as how that system works, I'll leave it up to you guys, especially if you live in the Louisiana area, to comment below on that. But as far as I'm concerned, I can't really say nothing much about it, especially when I don't know the law of Louisiana and how they go about the food stamp program there. But I'll leave that chance for those who have dealt with that situation in Louisiana to comment on below. I'd actually like to hear your opinion on that, and whether or not you think that their rules is unjustified, especially if you live in the area, you know the area front and back, and you know the laws of that area, especially in Louisiana, that that person qualifies or disqualifies them for food stamps and public assistance. So I'll let you guys talk about that. But as far as I'm concerned, I hope the guy gets the help he needs, because you can't have someone snapping and going off like that and hurting innocent people who have really nothing to do with you being denied the food stamps that you needed. So with that being said, I'll leave a link below, let you guys talk about it, and move on to the next article here, which there's another robbery here, and this one has to do with an Apple store. It says that an Apple store BMW robbery shows crime does not pay for the clueless. Another one of these cases here, and this one has a link I will leave, and also a mugshot of the person who committed the crime. Words for potential criminals: if you're going to attempt a ram raid, do not use your own luxury automobile as a battering ram. In the event you ignore these suggestions, be sure to remove your license plate from the side vehicle. Last but not least, be prepared for a a few flat tires or two. Sometimes something that tends to happen when you drive through a broken glass. You know, oh jeez, I don't know. You think that these guys would actually think before they do something stupid. I really do. I mean, isn't that too hard to ask that this may happen? You know, so all this hard work and you still ain't got nothing, and now you're going to end up in jail. Let me just read this. Follow these tips and you won't wind up behind bars like this alleged criminal mastermind behind a recent attempt at burglary in California. Why call him a mastermind? Let's just call it like it is. Buffoon. Idiot. Knucklehead. Don't call him a mastermind. That's insulting people's intelligence here. The crime, as told to the Huffington Post, unfolded like this. On September 6th, the midnight Morocco at the Tabernacle Police Department was broken up when officers were notified that an alarm had been triggered in the Apple Store in a mall in Timsela. I have no idea where this place is. It's in California. Let's know that. Responding units discovered one hell of a mess, according to Sergeant Dean Sebagate. The security gate at the front of the store has been destroyed, and there was substantial damage to the business. No suspects was found at the scene, so officers reviewed footages from the surveillance camera. In the video, a blue BMW X5 SUV can be seen crashing through the plated glass window in the front of the store. 3 suspects exited the vehicle and started to grab items from nearby display tables. For reasons still not entirely clear, the thieves appeared to target mobile devices as opposed to much pricier MacBooks. It is also interesting to note that as Slate.com pointed out, that the burglars staged their heist weeks before the release of iPhone 5. Apple have already announced the current model. The one they sold would be reduced to $99. While the hooded crooks grabbed the loot, the wheelman attempted to back out of the store, but quickly discovered the security gate has fallen down, blocking their path. Undeterred, the drivers repeatedly smashed the back of the BMW into the gate until it finally gave way. The SUV was able to exit the business driveway. A clear getaway. No, far from it. Yes, far from it, because I can tell what's going to be led here. During one of the BMWs, a frantic attempt to smash through the security gate. The vehicle license plate was torn from the vehicle and was discovered among the glass and rubber. Oh, Jesus Christ. I need a drink. You know, my friend is going to look at this and say, how dumb can it be? I can see him commenting right now. You're going to make one long comment. He probably might get 2 comments just after hearing this. The BMW also left chips of 2 flat tires. The burglars managed to use a spare to change one, but the other remained. They had time to change the tire, I'll tell you that, but they didn't change the other one. The solution, why the second thief, of course. According to the Riverside Press Enterprise, one of the men allegedly entered the nearby convenience store and stole a can of Fix-A-Flat. Jesus, this is like a bad TV show. You only see this in movies and TV shows. One of those comedies. He went to a convenience store and bought a can of Fix-A-Flat. I didn't even know they had one like this. Fix-A-Flat. Unfortunately for the thief, the damage to the tire proved to be too substantial for liquid magic to do its thing. So rather than lump to the battered beast back there, they limped the battered beast back to their hideout. The thieves abandoned it not far from the crime scene. The car, which once had new dealing prices of between $40,000 and $60,000, have extensively damaged, according to the police, and it gets worse from at least one alleged crook. Jesus Christ. You only see this in the movies. I mean, I refuse to believe. And they actually got a can of spray to fix flat tires. Obviously, this must be for small flats because there's no way in hell they can probably fix a major flat like the car had endured. But I'll let you guys talk about that one. Police was busy following up the lead in the case. They spotted 22-year-old Howard, Enquan Howard, walking near the mall. So he went back to the crime scene. Ain't that nice? Dumb crooks. As it turned out, Howard was a registered owner of the BMW, so you use your own car. The fact he had taken keys to the vehicle in his pocket. He had the keys. You abandoned the car and you still have the keys in your pocket. You know, and the guy is on state parole on an unrelated crime. He pleaded guilty with multiple felony charges. He's being held by $600,000 bond in the Southwest Detention Center. His accomplice has not been identified yet. That may change soon. I don't know what to say. I can sit here and tell you how dumb these criminals are. I really can. But you know what? Honestly, I'm just going to leave the link below. I'm going to let you read this. Because if you read it, I guarantee you, it'd be like reading one of the comedic novels. If you're watching one of those dumb movies or one of those cartoon skits. Because there's no way I can sit here with a straight face and say to you how dumb this thing sounds. From the moment crashing your van to the moment that you thought that getting a magical spray, which by the way didn't even know existed, to fix your heavily damaged tire, to going back to the scene of the crime with the keys that is actually you, which actually connects to the car which you actually use. Yeah, I really have nothing to say. I think the article speaks volume for itself. I'll leave a link. You guys can look at it, and you guys can get back to me. Because I really, it just boggles my mind. It boggles my mind. I really, how can you even call them criminals? They don't even deserve the name of that. Like I said with the other one, sometimes I can call them anything else, but I will not call them thieves. Oh man, let's move right along, please. Let's just move right along. On a more serious note, I talked about this before last week. I'm talking about it again. There's a lot of stuff going on between the teachers in Chicago and the mayor. As you guys know, shouldn't have already heard about it. The mayor is threatening legal suits against the teachers who have been striking for some time now. I have mixed feelings on this. I know my friend have commented on it, and I pretty much agree what he said to the most part. Look, in terms of striking, I understand that there's a reason why these teachers are doing it. And the fact is that it all stems from that evaluation thing they're doing. I do have a mixed feeling, but overall, I understand why the teachers are doing it, because let's be honest, when it comes to education, our politicians are not on the teacher's side. In fact, they've been doing all they can to destroy education in this country. The fact that they're trying to give these teachers evaluations is one thing. If you give an evaluation, if you're helping the teachers advance the education of the students. It's another thing giving evaluation, and yet you have given them almost nothing to work with and expect um, great results. It doesn't work that way. And I think my experience with the board education with New York, that says a lot. New York has something similar to that, and even that has been struck down as an unfair grading system because it really don't tell. It gives an inaccurate information towards the people who are looking at it. Not only that is that New York City state alone is just has had a poor reputation of giving the teachers the resource that is so desperately necessary to help educate our students in this city, and it can only imagine what it is in like in Chicago. Like I said, this is more about that, if anything. It has really have nothing to do with the pay. They're actually, from what I understand and what I read up and what I kept reading up on it, the pay is fine. That's not the issue. That's not the sticking point. Although I will say that the mayor tried to pull a fast one by lowering their pay, but letting them work longer hours, and that just doesn't make any sense. So he had to up their pay, and that seemed not to be the problem. The problem is basically the evaluation conditions that they are throwing out there, and the teachers is just not going to go for it. And being that the mayor is so dead set on having that thing as part of the deal, has caused a lot of this distress and disheartening. Now, according to a lot of people, they said the reason why they haven't agreed to the tentative agreement is they haven't had a chance to look over it. They just threw it out there and without having them to look at it, and they was not going to do that, especially when they haven't had a chance to look at the papers, haven't looked chance to look at the agreement, which was supposed to be looked over today as I speak. And they said, look, we can't just sign over something we don't know what we're signing over. That's not responsible. And I agree with the union. I do agree that they need to take the time. However, I still feel that they shouldn't be taking this long to strike. I think that there's something needs to work out, something that needs to be done, because let's be honest, the only people who's truly suffering from this isn't going to be as much as the teachers. It's not even being the union's chief, the union organizers, or even the mayor. The kids are left out on this situation, and they're being made to be played as pawns. There's no other way to put it. They're being looked at as pawns, and I don't think that that's fair for the parents, and not even fair for the kids. I think they need to really work out something, come up with some kind of truce until both things are ironed out. I mean, there's no real true reason why these kids have to suffer the way they are, and it's not making the teachers look good, especially the 30,000 teachers that are on strike. It's not making them look any good. Believe me, it's not. The parents are not happy about this. A lot of people are not looking at the teachers in a bright light because of that. I know a lot of people who don't even live in Chicago said that they are wrong. They should be in the class teaching the kids. So there's a lot of very bitter feelings on this. And all stretching of the fact is that the kids are simply not learning. And you gotta ask yourself this: each day they're out is each curriculum lost. How much do they need to catch up being out this long? And when it comes to the mayor filing a complaint against the teachers, you gotta ask yourself how much leverage he's gonna have. So, like I said before in my previous video, I was surprised that they can do that, because in New York, you can't do that. The teachers are not allowed to walk out on the job. They're not allowed to strike. They're allowed to protest, which teachers have tended to do, but that's after hours. That's after the work hours. They're allowed to protest. They're allowed to voice their opinion, picket it. But in the end, they'll go right back to class and then teach what they're supposed to do. That's teach. I was surprised that Chicago doesn't have that kind of law. But from what I understand, the mayor is pushing for a court order to get these teachers back into class. So I will keep you posted on that as much as possible. But from what I understand, it doesn't sound like the teachers are getting close to a deal. At least on paper, at least right now. Who knows? That may actually change as days go on. But like I said, it doesn't look likely it is, and I hope cooler heads will prevail in this, and at least come up with us at least an agreement, a temporary agreement, that will be able to get these teachers back in the class and get them to teach our children, because the longer they're out, the more dramatic effects it's going to have on the students, and that's something that just cannot that fly. It just cannot. I have an article here, but I'm not gonna read into the article. I think I pretty much said what needed to be said, and I will leave a link below. As always, you guys can comment on it if you guys want. But to me, that's just my feelings on it. According to a lot of reports, the mayor is definitely is going to try and file a court order to get them back in the class. The article also have key issues, and one of the key issues said that the schools can no longer afford concessions. We have no more flexibility when it comes to finance. Also, there's talk about the evaluation of teachers. Pay is still there, even though it's pretty much evidence that that's not the main factor. It's gonna be interesting to see how this is. And believe me when I say this, this has a lot of precedence for everyone across the United States, and I'll explain why. What happens here? What set the tone? What happens? Everything else. I always said that one always like a domino effect. When one happens, the other one will exert and either follow through or have something similar to the effect. And it's very important to keep that in mind, because many people always say, well, it's not my concern, it's not happening in my state. You'd be surprised how states follow the other, and it's always important to see what the other state is going on, what other cities is going on, because it may also have a rippling effect on your city. And especially if you have children who's in public schools, you better believe that this is very important. It definitely is. And like I said, this is the first time I ever seen teachers strike like this. And like I said, I understand why they're doing it, but at the same time, you are hurting the students, and they should not have to suffer because of two sides not agreeing on something like that. So again, I'll leave the link. You guys can talk about it. You guys can voice your own opinion. Like to hear from you guys, and that's all I'm pretty much gonna say on that matter. Got one more story to talk about, and this one caught me by surprise, and I'll tell you why. I was actually looking at my mail, and I was clicking on some reports to talk about some of the stuff that has been going on. Saw Jerry Lauder getting better. I actually talked about that a few days ago. I think it was on a Friday, and I was clicking, and this one caught me like nothing else. It's one of those pictures. And before I go on there, by any means, I'm not trying to insult this woman. This is a woman that I had caught inspiration to, and I'm sharing this story because I think this is a very important story to talk about. But when I saw the woman's face, it scared the hell out of me. I had to step back, and people looked at me in the coffee shop saying I was all right, and I said, yeah, I'm fine. And I immediately clicked on this because I know this had a story to tell, and boy, I'm glad I did. But this woman, who I believe is suffering from a condition, a very rare condition, and has been voted something. I will not say this name. I will not do that to her. It's disrespectful. But I know that's what the article says. And it says pretty much from the world's women. And I must just say it's a U word, but I don't consider her. To me, I'll put it this way. It says from the world's ugliest woman, and to me, I find that insulting. Especially after what this woman has done, especially after the cruel stuff that she has been thrown to her, to me, God bless her. I'll keep doing what you're doing. It's definitely an amazing story, and I really do hope. If you guys look at this topic, don't look at the picture, but look at the person. behind that picture, because this is something that I drive inspiration, especially especially the bullying and harassment she probably has to endure, and the fact that she's not only uh, an author but a person, a spokesperson for a school, really says a lot. I'm gonna read a little bit about this, and let me just start here. Um, when she was in high school, Lizzie Vasquez, I believe, was dubbed the world's ugliest woman. That's a damn shame. In an 8-second long YouTube video, born with a muscular medical condition so rare just two other people in the world are thought to have it. Vasquez has no adiposity tissue and cannot create muscles, store energy, or gain weight. She has 0% body fat and weighs just 60 pounds. In the comments on a YouTube viewer called her it and monster and encouraged her to kill herself. How could you do that? How can someone how can anyone say that to a person? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Anyway, Vasquez set 4 goals: to become a motivational speaker, to publish a book, to graduate college, and to build a family and create a career for herself. And guess what, guys? She did it. She did it. She set a goal and she did it. Unlike other people who say they're going to do something but never do. She not only did it, but she did it and she went on all obstacles. And that's something why I felt the need to share this story. It's a very strong story, a very touching story. And that's why I wanted to end the story with this one, because there's something that when I read it, it got me shaking my head, saying, "Yeah, you go, girl. You go at it. You do you." Now 23 years old, she is a motivational speaker for 7 years and have even given more than 200 workshops on embracing uniqueness, dealing with bullies, and overcoming obstacles. She is a senior member communications at Texas State University in San Marcos, where she lives with her best friends. And her first book, Lizzie Beautiful, comes out in 2010, and her second, Be Beautiful, came out in 2010, and a second, Be Beautiful, Be You, was published earlier this month. The stairs are what I'm really dealing with in the public right now, she told Dr. Drew Paxson in an interview in CNN Headline News this week. But I think I'm getting to the point where instead of sitting by and watching people judge me, I'm starting to want to go. I'm sorry, guys. I'm starting to want to go up to these people and introduce myself and give them my card and say, "Hi, I'm Lizzie. Maybe you should stop staring and start learning." Oh man, that's cool. That is so cool. I gotta say, that's cool. You go, girl. Vasquez was born in San Antonio, Texas, where she was 4 weeks premature and weighed just 2 pounds 10 ounces. She told us that she had no idea how she could have survived. Her mother, Rita, 45, told the Daily Mail, "We had to buy dolls' clothes from the toy store because the baby clothes was too big." Doctors warned Rita and her husband, Loop, that their oldest child would never be able to walk or talk, let alone live a normal life. Her 2 younger siblings were not affected by the syndrome. Instead, she thrived. Her internal organs, brain, bones developed normally, though her body is tiny since she has no fatty tissue in which to store nutrients. She has to eat every 15 to 20 minutes to have enough energy to get through the day. Her brown eyes started clouding over when she was 4 years old, and now she's blind in that eye and has only limited sight in the other. Some days life doesn't make sense. She written beautiful, be beautiful, be you, just to have a chance. What you can ask for your help and pray about the rest. This is a very, very, very powerful article. Um, and one of the comments was very, 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 very telling. This is a comment from one of the people who made a comment on this article, and it says here, and I quote, "There are beautiful people who are evil and ugly inside, and then there are beautiful, kind people who are defined by what they are, not what they look like. Lindsay, you're definitely the latter." And I totally agree with that. And this is a very, very powerful article, and I encourage everybody to read this because, trust me, when I read this the first time, and again, how I got across this article was simply because when I was strolling down the Yahoo page, just strolling down and her picture came up, it caught me completely and utter shocked. Once I got my mind together, I clicked on that article just to make sure this was actually a genuine article, and it is a genuine article. There are multiple articles about this woman, this wonderful woman. You can actually find her. I mean, if you don't want to look at this article, you can actually find her name on the articles, especially her books. And the more I read it, the more I said, "You go." And I grabbed inspiration from this. It's very, very inspirational, and how she was able to overcome almost impossible obstacle. Even the doctors didn't give her much hope, and the fact that she's doing what she's doing, despite some of her misfortune, says a lot. And I think a lot of people, especially those who like to judge people by shape, size, race, can learn a lot from this brave woman. It really can learn a lot from her. There's really nothing else I can say other than check out this article. This article is very, very deep. This article really hits close to home, and I do hope that while looking at this, it really opens a lot of people's eyes towards bullying and why bullying of any kind, for any reason, is simply just wrong. I also left a paste link on the comment that that commenter said. I'm not going to leave his name, just that one statement he made. It really spoke volumes, and I was very happy that he did make that comment there, and I hope that people actually do look at this link and really open their eyes to a lot of the nonsense that people do. Because like I said in my bullying videos, a lot of people, when they bully people, when they judge people, it's mostly because they don't understand, or mostly because of their own beliefs, but most importantly they just don't understand and they don't know how to react to it, so they react in a way that that is not only inappropriate but damn near more harmful than what it should be. And the fact that I had to read, the fact that people left that crap in YouTube, trolls, man, they it's just disgusting. It really is, and it just goes to show that a lot of people, we have a long way to go before we stop judging people for their color or their race or their what they look like. And I think that hopefully if you read this, it gives you a different light on the subject. But I'm going a little too far on the situation. Again, I will leave links to all the articles I've talked about. But until then, you guys, if you guys have something you want me to address for next week's What's News, please leave it on my inbox. I will be more than happy to look at it if I got the time. But until then, guys, you take it easy, you be safe, and be well.